Today's podcast episode is an interview with Danny Mitchell. He's currently the run game coordinator and running backs coach for University of Alabama, Birmingham. He also has a ton of experience coaching in Europe, winning championships in Sweden and also in Vienna in the European League of Football with the Vikings. And in 2023 was inducted into the European Pro Football Hall of Fame. So here is Danny Mitchell. Danny Mitchell, this is the no warm-up show, so we're going right in with no warm-up, okay? And I'm just going to start off. I'm going to start off with a bang question. You know, like in some of these movies where you just start off right in the middle, just
It's
like
my favorite.
Yeah, start off right in the middle. Start off in an intriguing scene. Danny, we're going to get into all of your background, coaching, your experience, your journey, your career, and everything you've done with football so far in your young life. But tell me, when was the last time that the game of football made you emotional to the point where you shed a tear?
Man, it was less than a week ago. Yeah, 6 days ago. I'm over at UAB now, and we had if you're a college football fan, you probably saw it. We had one of the largest upsets in college football last week, taking down Memphis, and man, we're in a unique situation. Interim head coach.
Right.
I mean, I've been here the whole time with him. And so to get his first win as our interim, that's when the tears all fell, because it was all of it. It's all of it. Losing Trent as our head coach, watching our guys come together, and then beating our rival. It's just so much to that. So,
dude,
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's incredible. It's just like one of the beautiful things in college football, especially when you guys are dealing with a little bit of adversity, a little bit of a shakeup there, and obviously like probably a ton of emotions going on. I'm sure that you just love Coach Dilfer, so kind of to lose him and then still be able to rally the troops. What went into that win? What went into that upset? What do you think that you guys did well?
Well, I'm gonna get. I told you this before we got on the show. I would probably get emotional thinking about it.
Here we go.
I think what you got to see, and we've all said it. Trent was the one that brought us all together here. The whole building, right? Not just the coaches, the players, the way this thing was established. So he was let go on Sunday. Yep. And obviously, there's a shock of emotion in that. This was last Sunday before going into the Memphis week. So, that it really was. It felt like when you're in to me, I can only speak for myself, my own experience. It felt like we were in a haze, but at the same time, you're in what you do and what you love. So, for us, it was a haze of, okay, well, we've lost our head coach, but he built a building and chose the people in this building for what happened on Saturday. That was the purpose of this building. Mm-hmm. And so, it was just one game. I've said that before, and our head coach right now, Alex Mortensen, said the same thing. But we all been a part of this. Nick, you know this too, man. You've been a part of them. Just one game is amazing how it can change your life, and also what it can do to you moving forward. So, what it took was nothing any different than it's taken in any other chance that you have when you compete in this game versus an opponent that's a great opponent. It took us to be focused. I know this sounds like coach talk, but it's so true. It took extreme focus from our guys fighting. I think this is what happens in this game too, man. So many people look at all the little other things that say, oh, this is what goes into winning. This is what has to be going to win. You know what it was? It was a bunch of dudes that just fought for 60 minutes and didn't look up at the scoreboard. And then I don't know if you watched the game. We won the game on a goal line stand on the 1 yard line. You want to talk about winning and fighting to the end? That's what we did. That's what it was. There's no secret sauce, man.
Dude, that gives me chills right there. That's one of the coolest ways to win a game is a goal line stand. Like, that's so much determination. You're back up against the wall, like literally, and then kind of metaphorically with what's going on with you guys. Like it's almost very just cinematic and poetic. So that's a massive win. That's huge for you guys. Congrats. And now you guys are chilling. You're on the bye week now, chilling a little bit.
Are.
Probably not chilling, but it's just a little bit slower, huh?
Yeah, a little bit slower. Obviously I'm in the office right now, but we got a great UConn team coming up. That's what our focus is right now. Is to focus on what is the next one, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're gonna pull away from reality. Literally, we are actually not guaranteed tomorrow. So we're focused on that, and this is what, man. I'll tell you this. This is where I think we all, our stories really mesh. Mm-hmm. You know what Saturday felt like? I said this. I texted this to my buddies, and I texted this to a bunch of people I love. I said, Saturday night, right after the game, about 10 minutes after the game. I texted this to Chris Calaycay too. I talked to him. it felt like being back in Vienna. It felt everything felt like that, and I because the emotion, the family, and you know that you just experienced it watching the Surge, get it done. There's just something different when you do something together that is going to be a memory for a lifetime. So
absolutely,
that was awesome.
Dude, that's magical. Those wins, those games in Europe are so magical, and so to describe it that way, it feels like
the best way.
A little bit of a magical win there, dude.
And I think you're one of very few people that understand when I say it. Hey,
yes,
what it's like versus winning out here. And I know we're on a big stage. I know we're on ESPN, all that stuff.
Yep.
It just feels different when you do it out in Europe. And that's what it felt like. And I want people to understand what that really feels like, because it's all about the love of the game. It's all about, but then it also comes with the culmination of, man, what a stage we got to do on. That's why I loved being a part of all the different leagues in Europe. That's what I loved about what the ELF was doing at first, and I don't know what the league's going to happen, but organizations are doing a great job of figuring out a way to make football great out there. I know I just spun this towards talking about European football, but man, that's what makes the game great. So
that's a skill. Hey, and I love that. I love to talk European football. And you obviously have been inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2023, European Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll get to that. So let's rewind back a little bit. Let's just give me a little buzz through of your coaching career. After you finished college at Willamette, give me the walkthrough, just a couple minutes of how you ended up here now at UAB.
I will speed this up because this is actually my 20th season of coaching football, not year, season. So I graduated in 2012 from Willamette. Yep. My dad's a high school football, baseball coach. I've been coaching for 45 years now. So I grew up in it. A guy named Tom Martinez took me under his wing when I was 16 years old. So Tom Martinez is very well known for being Tom Brady's coach when Tom Brady was 12 years old. So that's when I fell in love with wanting to coach, because, I mean, when you're a 16-year-old kid, and back then they didn't have like the quarterback camps that we have nowadays and everything's on the internet. I was just looking to find a camp to go and get better at playing quarterback. I was terrible. I mean, I was a backup D3 quarterback. My best friend is Cody Pastorino, and you watch what he does, and hey, there it is.
You like that right there?
That's me right there. And so, dude, man, once I got to be in that scenario, that to me was, I want to do this forever. And so when I chose to go to Willamette, because I was playing college baseball first, chose to go to Willamette to play for Mark Speckman, the head football coach. So now I will speed up the story. Mark was our head coach my senior year at Willamette. He took the Menlo College job. He hired me to be his quarterback coach and help him call the offense that year. But when he went 1 year there, I went back to Willamette and started coaching. Cody Pastorino was my roommate when we coached there. That's how I ended up in Germany. Cody went to Schwäbisch Hall. He was applying for teams out in Germany on Euro players. I didn't even put my resume up.
Yeah.
Josh Dean, our quarterback at the time,
I know Josh.
and Cody, those guys put up their resumes on Euro players. And so they threw mine up there too. So we're all going. So that's how I ended up out in Europe. The Tigers had a great year there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny, not to interrupt you. Cody's also the reason that I am out in Europe too. He recruited me out of college. Just like, yeah, I'll go check out Europe for 6 months. Sure. And now I live here on my 9th year of a German wife. Just like, thanks, Cody. Got us hooked
Cody
up.
Pastorino is he's the reason that changed a lot of lives, man. The unsung hero, man. And so, I went from Germany to USD to San Jose State. Coached a little bit of high school ball during high school. I was coaching in the fall in high school. And then when Dan Hawkins went to take over UC Davis, I went and replaced Dan with the Carlstad Crusaders. And so, and then I was a head high school coach for a little bit. And then the European League of Football started up. A couple teams reached out to me to lead them. Chris Calaycay reached out to me because, again, a Willamette tie.
Yes.
Very similar story. We lived in the same apartment complex. Literally the same apartment.
That is so cool.
And then it all tied together. And then from Vienna to here where I am now. And obviously that's opened some other NFL doors as well over the last couple of years. So
we got to get into that. Dude, that's the really quick way. Okay. So I got just to dive into some of these a little bit. Okay, we're going to play a little bit of a game here. You saw me throw up the Tom Brady photo. So I stalked your Instagram and I just pulled some photos. Okay. I stole this segment from the Hot Ones interview show. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's Pull a couple photos here. I actually have like 8. So I'm just going to throw them up and you tell me what's going on in the photo and kind of the experience you're having, maybe who you're with, any emotions you remember from the time. All right.
Hey,
so
you're trying to make me cry, man.
I'm trying to bring some tears out, Danny. All right. We'll go back and start off with the Tom Brady one. You kind of mentioned it, but explain this.
Yeah. Well, beyond Tom Brady, obviously everyone that's after he's won 3 Super Bowls. He was actually my throwing partner with Tom Martinez. And this, man, like you said it, Coach Martinez, took me under the wing because I just loved coaching football. And the reason why I know Coach Martinez is my grandfather. So I lost my grandfather in 2021 of November. So this is right before I go to Europe. Now I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
When I look at that picture, I really don't get to talk about the culmination. Now I'm actually why'd you do this?
Start off big, man.
You know what it is? I think what you get to see is what I loved about Tom Brady, Tom Martinez, and my interaction. I'm a 16-year-old kid right there. He treated me the same exact way as he would treat, Bill Belichick. Or when I was standing there, I'm watching Tom throw, and I will remember this for the rest of my life. And Coach Martinez flew me up when I was 18 years old. This is when I knew I wanted to start coaching. Tom's backup was a guy named Matt Gutierrez, and he had me fly up to the Bay Area and catch for Matt. He didn't have to fly me up. Matt Gutierrez for the freaking Patriots. Come on, you don't need to fly me up. He wanted me to come up there to help coach and built some confidence. That started with how Tom treated me. So, that picture right there is at the College of San Mateo. And why that all emotion hit right there is just because, it started with my grandfather. I think about him because all these moments, that's why it hits, man.
Yeah.
All the moments that my grandpa, before he passed, I sat on I'm sitting, he's in hospice. And his last words were, to me, one of his last words before he says, "I love you," he's like, I've always wanted to see your name on the ESPN ticker. You want to talk about motion from Saturday night?
Yeah.
I mean, that hit, the the big ones too. He talked about always wanted to see the big stage. The ELF that's why it hit me. You'll see on that, the ELF. I mean, I'm balling after we went out because, you saw how many people watched that game. And
It's crazy.
I went out there because, Chris gave me an opportunity because I was a high school coach. I was the only high school coach they hired in that league. Everyone else from the NFL, college, and I've always, I think different people get different opportunities. I totally get that, but I don't believe your opportunity ever defines your ability. I don't believe that at all. Just because you wore some great logo doesn't mean you're any good. That's what I love about this sport, man. I love coach. That's why I love coaching out there. Like, it's so cool because you see people, and I have so much respect for those coaches. That's why I wanted to do it. But every time we told the line, we got to stand on it. This is why I love watching. You watch the ELF, man. I love seeing the surge in Vienna. And these teams be dominant because they're the same way, man. That's why Cody and I are so tight. That's why I think you and I connected right away.
I know, man.
The people are what make this game, and that's what Saturday night was for us. That's what it's always been for me. So you can hide behind logos, hide behind scheme. When that ball's down, you're going to find out who you really are, man. And that's what I love. I'm there for for 60 minutes of fighting. And a lot of times, all that stuff right up there, that was a group of people that made that happen. That's why I'm not in the Hall of Fame. Those freaking players are. I keep on saying I'm a backup D3 quarterback that got to have the best seats in every game because I got to stand on the sideline and watch. And then I just cry after we win. So sorry for the long-winded answer, man. Man, you pulled out emotion there.
That's exactly what we want, man. And it's like, you are so good at articulating how football is more than a sport that's played on a field. Like you see all of us guys who is like, it becomes so much a part of your life. I think right there, you kind of just explained some of the reasons for maybe somebody on the outside who's like, why do these guys like football so much? This game, it's like, it's so much more than that. And I think you just explained it so well right there. All right. Sorry to bring up the emotional one, right?
I love it. No, this is, I'm bought into it now.
All right, you ready? Okay.
I'm a rom-com
Let's go with
guy, so.
let's go with the next one. This is actually I believe this is the year or around the year when we first met. And this is your time. Well, I'll let you tell it. What's going on here?
Man, well, let's start back. Let's go back. That's the Carlstad Crusaders. We went undefeated, won the national championship there. But let's go back to the greatest win, and I will put this out. This is going to make this PG-13. The greatest win of that whole year was when we played the Americans versus the Internationals in Flip Cup when you were there to you, Cody, and Phil took on. We took on. Gosh, who did we take on that night? We took on a couple of Swedish guys.
Yes,
took on a couple of the dudes from England. You know, we had, and then we played Flip Cup, and I remember that. It's on the video of your YouTube video that we did, and I remember the epic flip at the end and just the pandemonium when we won that.
Dude, it was. I remember going up there and visiting you guys in Carlstad, Sweden, and that's when Cody and I were playing for the Unicorns, and I think we had a special thing going on at the Unicorns, just team camaraderie and chemistry wise, and we went up there and just got embraced by all you guys, and it felt like you guys had that exact same thing, that special magic team chemistry camaraderie that I think is so special about Europe. So I think that you guys really had that exact same thing, and I felt that just going up there for whatever 2 nights that it was.
Man, that's what makes, let's get back to that Europe part too. That's what makes it so special too, because one of the coolest things, that's what I really liked about the ELF is getting to travel all around, but also one of those coolest things of that is we got to we played in the Champions League back then. So we played the Copenhagen Towers, we played the London Warriors. So we had teams coming from all over. And then after the game, hanging out with them because it's the same. Those are the top teams in all those countries, and it was all the same mentality. And I think you hit on that too, because Hull was that same exact approach. And man, that was such a great time. I mean, a life-changing time, obviously. So
fantastic, man. You guys won the championship up there, and dude, that's one of my favorite memories of traveling around. Getting to be an import in Europe and traveling around. That trip to Sweden up to visit you guys, still one of my favorites. All right, here we go. I got another one for you. Well, let me throw it up here. Okay, a little bit slow. All right.
Well, I'll tell you what really invokes emotion is the song by Arizona "Cross My Mind" because that's on your video, and every time I watch it, it brings me back.
Me too, dude. And anytime I hear that song come up on my Spotify playlist, I go immediately right back to it. It's crazy how music does that. It'll take you, directly there. All right, tell me what's going on here. You and an NFL legend.
Well, look at that guy right there, man. You got a Hall of Famer right there, and then you got Troy Polamalu. So, oh man, Troy is incredible human being. He lives in San Diego now, and we took that picture because his sons go to St. Augustine High School, which is in San Diego. The head coach there is Ron Carragher. I GA'd for Ron Carragher. So we saw each other. We had met before. One of my best friends back home he's the head coach of the Bishop School where I used to coach at, Shane Walton. And they played together when they were in the NFL. And so, man, getting to see Troy, that was actually a very surreal moment because Troy came up to me. He came up to me. He was like, "Hey, can we get a picture together?" And I'm like, "I think I'm the one that's supposed to say that to you." We had known each other obviously before, but I was shocked. I was just jaw dropped shocked that he remembered me, and that's the type of person he is. It's no doubt why he's the best, not one of the best. He is the best of all time at obviously his position, but man, he walks it anywhere he goes. One of the most humble human beings. Man, you feel it's what football's about. I always say this too, and I know this is and I keep going back to this. That dude would be great in Europe, obviously. I mean, the personality, man, Troy Polamalu, you can't say enough great things about that. What a great human being, dude.
Absolute legend, dude. I used to love he was one of the players that I would throw on his highlights on game day before to get myself hyped up. I just throw.
Oh my gosh!
Tell me about what. So this was at the Steelers. So you were at the Steelers this year during training camp. You also got an experience with the Tampa Bay Bucs, but we'll talk about that too. But can you tell me about that Steelers experience, what that was, and then maybe what is something you learned from that experience?
Oh, well, if I'm not going to get into what I learned as much because we could be here for another 24 hours.
Yeah.
Man, first of all, it started with Rip Shear. So Rip, who was the head coach of the Madrid Bravos, is our senior advisor here. So here's a small world. Rip Shear was the head coach at Memphis, actually, and one of his first GAs was a guy named Mike Tomlin. So Mike is obviously there he is.
There it is.
Ripper. And Mike obviously GA'd for Rip, and obviously is now the head football coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Been there for 19 seasons, I believe. That's unprecedented alone, right? There's
crazy
only 3 head coaches. And man, let's just talk about the experience first. Number one, and I guess this ties into what I learned. Number one, culture is everything. And I know that's cliche and everyone says it, but you find anyone else that has coached 19 years at any level, right? Let alone the NFL, right?
Yeah.
His culture, you feel it right away. And it starts with, I think a lot of times it starts with humility. It starts with a welcoming. I love what he said. I got pages and pages of notes. Here it is, my Steelers notebook right here. Right? It's all filled up with all my notes from Coach Tomlin, all that, man. Like
that is awesome.
It's not football. It's all about just how he ran his football team. And he said, "There's no such place." Yeah, I'm butchering I'm going to butcher the quote here. So, Coach, I wrote it down, Coach Tomlin, if you watch this, but I'll give the actual, the meaning behind it. He said, "There's no such thing. There's no bad place where good ideas come from." And so that's the culture that he said. And I will say this is one of my proudest moments in it. Like, where I'm sitting in offensive install meetings and they're putting in a scheme, and I threw out a name and they named it that way. And so, I'm like,
hey, that is sick.
Add to the playbook. But that's the type of culture, and I think a lot of times when people, and this does happen, I've done this long enough where you walk into buildings, people think their logo makes them more powerful in this game. And so, hey, I must know more than you. He doesn't have that. You look at his staff and it exudes all the way through from the top. Mr. Rooney, the owner of I'm running on the treadmill and Mr. Rooney's running right next to me, and I'm shocked. I'm in there in the morning, I'm running and I'm like, wait a second. That's
the owner.
So I go introduce myself. He's like, hey, and what's really cool, he knew my name. Why does he have to? He doesn't have to know the Bill Walsh guys,
Yeah.
And that's the culture they had. And man, the experience, obviously, the football side was incredible, but the culture that they have, you'll hear this. You can probably hear it from when you hear Aaron Rodgers talk about it a little bit. What a great dude, too, man. I mean, that guy is unbelievable. Most talented quarterback I've ever seen. And I'm sorry, Tom. I'm just telling you, like, dude, this guy. He's 41 years old. The way he throws a football, nobody throws it like him. And
Tom even says that. He says that he's the most talented thrower of the football, and it's still just beautiful. He had a couple of
unbelievable,
just gorgeous. How's he doing?
It is. I got to play catch, so I'm obviously a pretty personal person when I go out there and I'm trying to meet the players, but also because I'm having fun. I'm in my great environment and love this. So I'm playing catch with Aaron, and I'm trying to do the same thing back to him, right? And he's just smiling, smirking. He's a quiet, reserved dude, but really funny, great teammate. You can see it, and I think you even see it. I mean, you see these young guys. I thought that clip from last Thursday night when the offensive lineman tackles him, that shows exactly who Aaron is. And man, what a great experience. And I got to shout out one last guy, Eddie Faulkner, the running backs coach, who I got to work with. Man, if I were to credit what really boosted it, I know our running back room is special here. I don't have to do anything. These guys, they could just show up and do what they do. But hopefully what they're getting from me is all the things that I got to just learn within that time from Eddie, from the culture he brought to that running back room. And so I've tried to implement a lot of what I learned from Eddie, what he's really seeped into me. He texted me after the game. That's the type of relationships you build. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers running backs coach does not have to be watching the UAB Blazers on a Saturday night. And right immediately after that game, I get a text from him. And, I can't say enough great things about Eddie Faulkner. And I can't tell you how much impact he's had on me up to this point and for the rest of my career. And that's what coaching is, right? It's the impact they make on you. And so I think what you'll hopefully get to see, this is what I told the Pittsburgh Steelers staff when I was leaving. I said, guys, this was the best experience of my entire life. I got to stand up in front of the whole staff. I asked Coach Tomlin if I could talk to him. And I said, I think I do want to thank you. But what I really hope is when you look up in 5 years, that's when you get to see your thank you. That, everything you poured into me, what you guys, where you're at, I plan on doing the same thing. I've done it everywhere else I've been. I plan on being there too. And that hopefully is the thank you to you guys, is you guys look up, when you chose, because those things are chosen. When they choose the Bill Walsh.
Yeah, right.
Again, there's another, I cry a lot, man. That was another time I cried. Isaac Williams, Isaac called me. That's their assistant offensive line coach who chooses the Bill Walsh. And
real quick, how many, it's a pretty small group. How many guys are getting
so there were 2 of us on offense, 2 of us on defense, 1 special teams.
Yeah.
And every organization, they hand select it. And so for them to choose me, especially that prestigious of an organization, that meant the world. And so, I say that because it does mean that to me, that honor means a ton, because I hope if you look back, there's a lot of Bill Walsh. There are a lot of Bill Walsh fellowship coaches that are now either head coaches, coordinators in the NFL right now. It's a huge path. You get a chance to have one of those. It creates a whole different opportunity for you. And so with that opportunity, I hope to, and I think a lot of people say it, but, again, I have coached 20 seasons of doing this, and I keep trying to get better and sharpening and getting better and better. That's the highest. That's the best of the best of the best. And why I said that to them is the only expectation when they choose us is to say, you're going to be the best. So that is exactly my target goal. And so, man, that's what I hope. And that's what I love about Coach Tomlin. That's his mindset. It's not about wins and losses. He'll win. He wins. These guys never had a losing season, right?
He wins.
But it's the culture he brings. And, and so it just felt so aligned. It felt so aligned to everything I've experienced in life. And I'm like, this is why. It's also the same thing. Like, you and I are competitors. A lot of us that have especially been on successful teams over and over. There's a part of me, and I said this too to them, there's a part of me, I'm like, hey, it's either I'm with y'all, or if I'm on the other sideline, good luck for 60 minutes. Good luck. Like, so, yeah, man. I'm getting all fired up, man.
You're getting me fired up, man. I think it is so awesome, the path that you're on, the stuff that you've accomplished already. I admire it so much, dude. Just kudos to you. You're inspiring. I'm not in the coaching world at all, but I just think anybody who watches you speak can just feel that energy and passion for what you're doing. It's just so inspiring. All right. This is not, of course, brother. This is not the only NFL organization that you've gotten to spend time with. This is also you with the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohen. Tell me what's going on here.
Man, this was actually the second day we were there. And, I can't say enough good things about Liam, too. He was just hired as the OC of the Buccaneers during that time.
Really?
Too. So he was only a couple weeks into the job. So he was kind of getting to know everyone. But you could see the instant impact he had with that organization. Esther is right next to me. She's from Brazil. She's we want to talk about a great football coach. I think that's what the other great part. That was one of the coolest things to me too. There were a lot of different international coaches there. There were 3 of us really from international areas. Obviously, I'm from the United States, but to have that connection to me, it's a great honor to be considered an international coach, because that means we coach the game around the world. And I think a lot of people, again, this is what I love about the Buccaneers. They're about breaking barriers, but it's also a lot of times, maybe I'll get political here, but people are like, well, it's got to be, we're trying to get this many people or this type of diversity. It doesn't matter about that. Are you good at what you do? And that's why I want to talk about the woman in the middle right there. Esther is one of the best football coaches I've ever met, regardless of her being from Brazil or a woman. Best football coaches. That's what it's about. That's what the Bill Walsh is about, right? It's not about, because I'm the way I look this way.
Right.
No, if you're going to give me a cheap one like that, let's go. You can think that that's your hindrance.
Yeah.
I'm good because I'm good, you know, and I'm good because I don't do anything. It's the players that do it all, you know, and I think that's what they have, those same approaches. And you saw it. Well, I think there's a great viral video of Liam from his meeting this past weekend, I believe. If you saw it, right? That's
Where
it.
he's
That's what it
taking
takes.
accountability. Was this the one you're talking about? Yeah, yeah.
That's
Can you
exactly
explain a
right.
little bit what was going on there?
Yeah. So in that video, you know, I just watched it actually this morning when I woke up. In that video, he's talking about he made a play call on a 4th down. He said, "Hey, that's on me too. It's not all on you guys." And you know, that's what I really respected, because not only respect it, man, it's what coaching is. That's how you know, that's how it is, and that's why I always go back to Europe, right?
Yeah.
My first head coaching job was the Osnabrück Tigers. I'm 24 years old. Our team average age was 28. So I'm younger than everybody. If I would have had this dictator approach, or the movie coach approach, these guys ain't going to respond to me. That's how I have to be able to coach. And that's how I've always learned to coach. That's how my dad coaches, right? That's how all the great coaches I've been around, you know, the ones that have really connected. Everyone says it's about relationships. I do agree with that. A lot of times I think that gets skewed too. Like, we think relationships are all lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
If I'm able to, I think that's a great example of who Liam was, right? What I've experienced, who he is, right? And I don't know him well, right? I don't know him well. I got to spend a week with him. But the accountability also shows how much trust he has for his players, and vice versa, because you're not going to be that vulnerable if you don't have the confidence that the relationship can balance out. Like, hey, okay, he's taking accountability, I will too, right? And I think that's where ego is taken out again, right? And so, man, I think that's why he's a successful coach. Obviously, you know, he's had a great journey too. Everyone in this profession has different journeys, but I enjoyed that about him, and that's why that picture right there was actually one of our first initial conversations, and that smile's genuine, because, you know, just the way he made us feel right away, and how welcome he was, and man, I'm pulling for him. And you know, I hope and I know they played in the preseason, that Jacksonville and the Pittsburgh Steelers played in preseason. I hope they tie each other this year.
Very, very good diplomatic answer right there. Be a politician with that one. Yeah. That's just so cool, man. And just the success that he's had so far as a head coach with the Jaguars is been so impressive. And obviously everything that he did with Baker Mayfield and that offense down there. And that's just so cool to see. All right. So you've coached at different levels, high school, college football, different levels in Europe. What is something that always remains constant? So I'm going to ask you this. What is something that always remains constant in coaching, no matter what level you're at, no matter where you are in the world? And maybe what's something that's a little bit different about coaching in high school, coaching in college, coaching in Europe?
Here's the consistent thing in all of football, and it gets overcomplicated, but it truly is this: do you love playing this game with the people you're playing it with? And I don't think it stops there. What I say, do you love playing this game? That's where I think it cuts off a lot for a lot of people. They're, I just love playing football. But do you? Do you actually love playing football, or do you like touching the ball? Or do you like what football brings you? Do you like all this? Do you like all this? Right? We got this freaking $25 million building. That's why I love football. No. Do you love playing football with the people you're getting to play the game with? That's consistent everywhere, every level, doesn't matter. You know, I think, and you see the different issues that happen in football, right? The issues in football at the high school level are, well, my kid's not getting enough. The parents, right? That's the cliche. Parents are an issue in high school football. No, they're not. Selfishness is the issue. It's not the parents. Parents want their kid. I'm not a parent, but I would assume that as a parent, you want the best for your kid. Well, what is the best for your kid if you understand the game of football? The best for your kid, if you understand the game of football, is to make him the best teammate he can possibly be on that team and love what they're doing. College football. Well, you know, the problem is the transfer portal. No, it's not. That's freaking awesome. I'm actually, and this is probably, who knows what, this is probably wrong for me to say, but I'll say it. I want our guys to have more opportunity. I want our young backs, someone saying, hey, let's give him X amount of money. You know what? That means a really good player. But if he has the great intention, if he's like, man, I just love playing this game no matter what, which we have in this room. I'm telling you, I got dudes in this room. You'll see them playing on Sunday. They have the right buildup, the right makeup. When scouts come in here all the time, they ask me, man, what do you love about him? I'm like, talk to him. I literally bring them all over every single day that the scout, they're here every day. I do something that's a little different, I think, than the most I don't know if every university does. I can't speak for everyone, but they tell me this, that we do it different.
Yep.
I stop our indie. Anytime scouts are there, I stop our indie and we go over and introduce ourselves and shake the scouts' hands, and I let them tell their story a little bit. And because that's what makes this game special. And I watch the best of the best. That's why the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all these different organizations, the really good ones have really good people in it. And I'm not talking about their saints, their angels. I'm not saying that. They play the game the right way. And it's all about building the team the right way. So the right people are in those buildings. That's what makes them win. Yes, believe me, there's a lot of talented football players out there. A lot. And it's overlooked at times. It's where I go to Europe too. A lot of people don't realize how good European football is.
Yes, dude.
I've said this too. I'm like, dude, I would take the Vienna Vikings and I'll take on our conference with the Vienna Vikings. I would love to do that. Because people, oh, you know what? They're Austrians. There's no way they can play at that speed. Try to play at that violence then. Let's see if you can line up with freaking bunch of 6'6", 300-pound guys that are going to try to run your freaking face over for 60 minutes because they freaking love each other. Like,
yeah, dude.
That's what makes this game special, man. I know I went a long tangent there, but that's and that's where it stops. It stops there. So
get me hyped up, Danny. You're gonna make me come out of retirement. Enough with this media stuff. I want to get into coaching or play. I want to play.
Tell Cody to sign you, man. I know they're looking for linebackers. He texted me last night. So
you tell Coach Pastorino there's this new linebacker coming. Yeah, I'm gonna go in disguise. What's that new that Glenn Powell show? Have you seen that the Hulu show? Chad Towers. That's gonna be me.
Basing it off of Eli Manning's character.
Yes.
That's really hilarious.
That's gonna be me. All right, I love that. Okay, well, we were talking about the Vienna Vikings. Let me throw up this picture if I can. There we go. Okay, talk to me a little bit about your time at the Vienna Vikings in 2022, being the OC. You guys winning the championship. Here you go, right here with the culmination of that season. This photo. There you go. Cool. Got that nice trophy.
That one.
Swagger.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the quarterbacks, man. That's Jackson Erdman and the A train there. You know, we took a cool picture after that's probably after we downed a couple of those champagne bottles too.
There's a difference in Europe. Is right after the game you're going to be having beers and champagne on the sideline. I don't know if you're having that much in college football.
You don't get that, man. But man, that was I'll just say that whole experience was a culmination of and this is where it's going to sound cliche and cheesy, but I think a lot of people, it was like a movie because a lot of people will say it but never actually do it. That was a culmination of truly believing in yourself. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but I'll tell you exactly how that all played out. I'm not going to say this, the salary or anything, but when we left San Diego, I left the head coaching job and athletic director job of my alma mater. My mom works there. My dad works there. My brother works there. My whole family. I was like, man, I'm going to be here for 50 years. I'm going to stay here. I say this, and first of all, I'm so grateful. So the man that runs that school, man named David Jeremiah. So he's a well-known mega pastor, but more importantly, just a great human being. And so I left the job. It was the caption that came out was Danny Mitchell gets his dream job. It was on the front page of the sports section in 2020. And it was my dream job. Like I grew up, I was the water boy there. You know, my dad's been coaching there for like 6,000 years. So, so I left that job. And I say that because great security, right? Obviously, like, it's everything you want. Like I'm living in San Diego. I'm a block from the beach. Like, why would you do that? And we know this, right? You go to Europe, you ain't going to Europe because of the money. You ain't going to Europe because you're set up for security. I chose to do that, number one. And I always explain, I was the AD and head football coach at a weird time. COVID had hit. And so it was pulling me away from football a lot. My responsibilities as an athletic director were pulling me away from football because you're trying, especially in the state of California, right? It's just different. And so I missed coaching football. And the thing that brought me back was European football. And so I made a decision not only just to go out to Europe to coach, but also I had these aspirations still. It's still burned inside me like, man, I want to take a shot at the highest level I can possibly do it at. Well, I don't have the connections to get back into college football, but I saw who was going into the ELF. Jim Tomlin, right? I mean, you see all the names now, right? I'm very close with now. Rip Shear, who's a legend. I mean, look, JDR is out there, dude. Massive names in football that were going out there to coach. And I said, you know what? Maybe if we do just well enough, I shake the right hand and they say, hey, who the heck was that guy? Well, we went out there and won the whole freaking thing. And so it was a culmination of belief in yourself, because I chose to do it because I said, you know what? It's what I said before. 60 minutes. Give us 60 minutes. And here's the other part. I know the Vienna Vikings right now, what we got to do. It's amazing when you start having success, how much you forget things. Vienna had lost 5 months prior to going into that ELF season. They had lost to the Raiders in the AFL championship, the Austrian championship, by 40. And I remember that in the season versus them. It's not like we changed the roster completely. We didn't play with any Americans. We had Jackson Erdman as our only American starting that day. We brought in Cody Smith, Cody's been a long-time player out in Europe. He was 36 years old when he came out there, and he was our other American. He got in like 6 days before. Mike Bruler, who was our receiver, he got in like 3 days before the game. So he played the first snap, and then heat exhaustion hit him. So we won with our Austrian players that first game, and that's what started us off. We beat the Raiders for the first time since 2011 at their place, right? So that alone felt like that right there. That's when I knew of like, oh, that Raiders Vikings rivalry is different. I mean, you would have thought we won the championship that day, and then obviously the next week we got to beat, a Frankfurt team that had just won the championship. Springboarded us there, and it was a movie. It was a magical season, man. So,
dude, it is incredible what you guys did that year. I want to come back to this year and a little bit more on ELF football, your time there. But so at Christian Unified, where you were the AD and the head football coach there, so what I want to point to is kind of you're basically betting on yourself, because you're leaving stability, you're leaving comfort, your family's there, you're right there at the beach. It's an awesome job, awesome gig, but you felt like you still had something that you wanted to pursue there. What would you say to somebody who is maybe wrestling with those emotions of like, man, I'm comfortable, I'm in a good spot, but I feel like maybe there's something a little bit more for me to pursue? Because there's probably a lot of conflicting emotions. What ultimately led you to be like, I'm taking the leap, I'm betting on myself?
I think there's a fine line in this. And again, this is not the golden answer, but I do think there's a fine line between being the dreamer and being the doer. And I would say that was the time in my life that I felt both finally came together. I've always been a dreamer, right? I mean, my little brother used to make fun of me all the time. He still does. He's my younger brother always made fun of me because I'd be up in my room winning the Super Bowl in my head all the time, diving on the bed, catching touchdowns. I've always been a dreamer. I think that's what has helped me. But at the same time, you have to have experience. And it came back together. For me, I felt that I'm ready in football specifically. I've had a lot of different experiences. And it really was shaped when I went back to high school. It started. I got to credit this guy. So Joel Allen is the athletic director. I'm just going to say he's one of my best friends. Again, Joel was the athletic director, head football coach of the Bishop School when I had left San Jose State. He had already been there 11 years. He's the head coach. He calls the offense, all that. When I got there, he turned the offense over to me. And he said, they had just lost in the championship the year before. He does not need me. And He turns over the offense to me, and we go undefeated, won the championship, went to the state championship, all that. But what again, this is like what I was talking about the Vienna Vikings, what wasn't ever talked about or ever seen, only within that area. And this, I promise this will all tie together. Our first scrimmage was horrible, just terrible on offense, like as bad as it can possibly be. I'm bringing in what was thought as a college system because I empower our quarterback a lot, to a point. I'm empowering a 16-year-old to make a lot of decisions and have so much power that he overrules me. And I say that all comes back when we went in that year, 2000. This was fall of 2016. This is how weird the story is. We went undefeated. My dad's team went undefeated, and we played each other in the championship. So my dad's calling the defense on the other side. I'm calling the offense, and we won that game because I'm going against my dad, right?
Yeah.
And we won that game because I didn't call that game. Our quarterback did. He finished 30 of 33. His name is Jeffrey Jackson. Threw 5 touchdowns in that championship game. We're up 49-6 in the middle of the third quarter against the number 1 seed. They're the number 1 seed. And that was all Jeffrey. And that was belief from Joel. And that's why I say it's like a trickle effect. Yeah. Joel empowered me. I empowered Jeffrey. That's all stuff. Then I saw, in San Diego, they keep moving you up when you have success. My last year at Bishop, we're playing the largest school in San Diego. Our only shot, and I had a pretty dang good quarterback watching him back there, a guy named Tyler Buckner. Tyler led the entire nation in offense. And our only shot was to make him have the ability to make decisions out there. And so I say that it all came to culmination there because I missed being able to do that. And I watched, man, it ain't going to get harder than that. I don't care what anyone says, like, oh, this is the best level. It ain't going to get harder when you play with 14 kids versus 150 on the other sideline. And one kid, you got offensive linemen that are 150 pounds going against 4 Division I offensive linemen. It does not get harder than that. And no matter what anyone says, they can say, well, UAB versus Georgia. No, it's not. We have Division I players, right? And the NFL, that's an NFL player. This is an NFL player.
Yeah.
In high school, it is, man, this kid's going to be a freaking doctor or lawyer, but he probably shouldn't be blocking a 3 technique, But we had to figure that out, right? And I say that because, man, that's what fired me up. I'm like, man, you could do this. You could do this at a highest level. And it's the same thing I saw out in Europe, right? It's what makes European football great too. Yeah. You can have the most talent. You can have the best accolades of coaches. How do you put your pieces together? And that's why that Vienna team was so special, because what was really cool is we never started the entire season. We never started on both sides of the football back-to-back weeks with the same roster starting lineup because of injuries, so different people were filtering in, right? That tells you culture matters. That tells you that team matters. All the little things that make things special, this game great. That was so special. It was like a movie. So
sorry. Can you really quickly on that, just sticking with the Vikings, because we talked about the Steelers and they've had Coach Tomlin there for almost 20 years and they have such a strong culture. Vienna Vikings are similar. Coach Calaycay has been there forever and he's instilled a really strong culture. Can you talk maybe just a little bit about kind of the culture that Coach Calaycay has set there in Vienna?
I don't shy away from this. And I mean, that's all due respect to every head coach. And I know when you say all due respect, it's like the first thing that's disrespectful. But I really mean this. Like, I've met a lot of incredible coaches. Chris Calaycay is the best head football coach on the planet. And it doesn't, and it has, and why do I say that? I mean, he's been there for 20 years, obviously more than that, right? He looks like he's still my age,
I know, he looks great.
I say that. I might look old too. I got gray hair. But, Chris has a culture that is not only, that is loving and inviting to the players, but man, he embodies everything that this game's about. He his story is incredible. He was with Coach Tedford at Cal. So when he was a GA at Cal, he tells the story all the time. He's playing ping pong with Aaron Rodgers, right? On Aaron Rodgers' visit. So Chris could be putting on the biggest logos on the planet, but what makes him so great, and again, I think people when they start to see people have success, they try to figure out like, oh, there must be complicated. There must be something he has figured out more than anyone. No, man, the guy just loves you. I mean, every text I end with him, I tell him I love you. Like he's like a brother to me, and that's what he creates. That's what it felt like in there. I felt that I could be my best self with the guardrails of someone that has done it at a great level. I mean, that's why I felt so empowered on offense. Why I think there were times we'd struggle, and Chris was just pouring in confidence to you, and he does that to his players. And I get he juggles the hoops of European football. We all know that, the different hoops of that, right? Like,
Yep.
build the organization. Where do I get my players? But he's so intentional on who comes into that building, who's not. And I think, my experience, I got to watch him in 2014. When I was the head coach with Osnabrück, I went and watched them play the Braunschweig Lions, and then I watched him when Austria played Germany in the European Championship, like the most epic game of all time.
Cody talks about all the time.
Yeah, we were there. I was there with Cody.
You guys were there, yeah.
Yeah, we oh man, it was incredible. But man, I can't say enough great things about Chris Calaycay, and I'll tell you, if anyone, I mean anyone, this is where I probably sound like, man, this guy's too arrogant or whatever it is. I have all confidence. You put him and I on the same sideline, you better have Bill Belichick on the other sideline. You better have Tom Lombardi on the other sideline, because you're about to get 60 minutes of something you've never freaking seen. So, man, I love that guy, man.
It's nighttime here. I'm supposed to be winding down after this, and now I'm getting all fired up. I got to go to the gym or something. You're getting me too.
I love that, man. Dude.
I mean, I love what you're doing in the States at the college level. Selfishly, I would love European football to be blessed with another season of Danny Mitchell one of these days, just selfishly, so I can enjoy it. And I would love to see you go up against Cody Pastorino, Johnny Brenner.
I want that all day, man. I want that. He knows that too. I will be back out there at some point, man. That's what it's about, man. Those guys right there. You want to talk about greats? There's some greats right there. That's why you love doing it, Yeah. And there's so many great coaches and great minds. Those guys are great coaches, great minds, but pour into the players. And man, Cody knows this for freaking however many years. Now we're old, right? We get on board wars all the time. We used to do it. We get on the whiteboard and board up. I always win because I'll steal the pen last. I'll make sure whoever has the pen last always wins. So, man, I love to do it in real life. We know that. So
this would be great to film your guys' board wars right there. That's some good content. Okay. Last question, Danny, before I let you go, get back to work. What do you want? I mean, you said you're 20 seasons into your career, but you're relatively very young. You're going to be doing this for a long time. What do you want people who work with you and encounter coaching with you or playing for you? What do you want them to walk away feeling?
This is going to sound like coach talk and cliche, but I truly mean it. I want them to, what I said about football before, I want them to say, oh, you know what? I get why I played football. It's why you said it too, right? Like, and I love this game because of, I hope they look back and they look back at the memories or the times that we get to have playing this game, and they think about the moments that made it so special. And that's what you get to do as a coach, is you get to create that culture. And I think a lot of times it gets lost when you think about you think about oh, I got to win, I got to do all this thing. None of that matters. That'll all come back together. If it goes back to what I said before, if you play this game because I love playing football because of the people I get to do it with.
Danny, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Good luck next week. Enjoy the bye weekend. Maybe a little bit of time off, maybe a little chill Saturday.
Yeah.
And good luck the rest of the season, brother.
Well, hey, I appreciate you, Nick. Thank you for having me on, dude. This means a ton. And I do want to say this one last thing. Yep. You have such an influence not only on this game, but people and why they love this game. If any of y'all, and I don't know, now I'm marketing, you got to watch Uniform Town. Anyone, seriously, I tell that to everyone because they'll start to learn what this game's truly about at any level. And man, what you do for the game, what you do for people. I think it's why, we've only got to actually be face to face once, but I feel like we've known each other forever. Dude, it's amazing what you do with the platform you have. And so I say that to answer your last question again. I hope I get to have a very similar impact in the things I get to do as you do with the people around the world. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart, man. That's why I watch all your stuff. I think it was incredible that the ELF put you on stage, because I'm like, man, that's the dude that's going to make it happen. Like, man, you're incredible, man. So
appreciate it so much, man. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. And same back to you, brother. Thank you.
Oh,
appreciate it,
man. Thanks again. Sign up for Quiver if any of you all ain't on Quiver.
Oh, and there it is. Danny, all of these accolades, he's also a ground floor Quiver investor. Okay.
That's right.
Download Quiver. There we have it.